In the old days in 70s and 80s, it was common to declare variables on top of the method. And I think there were technical reasons behind that. I think early C compilers were not able to understand a variable that was declared somewhere in the middle of a method. But these days we don't have that problem anymore. And we shouldn't really declare our variables on the top of a method. In fact, we should declare them where we need them. What's the reason behind that? Imagine you ask your friend, how was your day? Your friend says, I started my day with a coffee, I went out, it was beautiful and sunny outside, the world population is 6 billion. What? Your friend was talking about his day and how it was going, and all of a sudden he says, the world population is 6 billion. It just doesn't make sense. There is a bit of disconnection here. And when you declare a variable on top of a method, it's like you're talking about a story, and then you go somewhere else where those variables are not used until later. So the context switches. So someone reading that code will have to consume more brain power to remember the connection between those variables declared at the top and where they're used. And as clean coders, we want to minimize the brain power used by the readers of our code to the minimum. So let's take a look at a real-world example in Visual Studio and see how we can fix it. We've got this pay calculator class that is inside this folder called variable declarations at the top. Take a look at these variables declared here. We can put the cursor here and see where they are used in the method. So overtime hours is used here, and also here, and here. So I was hoping that perhaps I could move that to where it was used, which was here, but it's used in multiple places. So we have no choice by leaving it at the top. How about regular hours? Same. So it's used in a couple of places here and further down. Let's take a look at another one. Regular pay. I don't see that used anywhere until here. So it would be much cleaner to move them close. So that's an opportunity for us to make this code a little bit cleaner. So what I'm going to do, so I press Ctrl+Shift+R and I want to inline this variable. It doesn't allow me. It says variable has write usages. And that's because of this initialization to 0. Can you notice that the color of this 0 is different from the others? Because it's kind of grayed out. And that means this is unnecessary. And note that here ReSharper is showing us this icon with the tooltip saying remove redundant initializer. So the first thing we need to do here is to press Alt and Enter to bring up this refactoring command and remove redundant initializer. Good. Now we get a green underline here. We can press Alt and Enter again and see what this yellow bulb means in this context. So this time it says join declaration and assignment. Let's go ahead with that. See what happened? It moved the declaration of regular pay and its initialization here. So we reduced the noise at the top of the method. Let's take a look at overtime pay. It's not used anywhere until here. So let's do the same thing here. Okay, the only problem here is we have initialized it to 0 and we cannot get rid of this initialization, and the reason for that is it's only changed based on some condition here. So we kind of have to leave that initialization here, and we have to manually remove this and move it closer to where it's used. Let's get back to the top of the method. And how about gross pay? It's not used anywhere until here. So again, you see that initialization to 0 is grayed out. So we can activate refactoring with Alt and Enter. Remove redundant initializer. Alt and Enter again. Join declaration and assignment. There you go. Now it's at the bottom of the method. So if you look at the top, we only have 2 variable initializations and they're used straight away. So it's like we're telling a story and we continue with that story. There is not a mental disconnect, like the metaphor I used earlier. So what I want you to take away from this lecture is to declare your variables close to their usage. In the next lecture, we'll take a look at magic numbers.